So I took a walk through Tokyo from my house and I went a few blocks, and I just wanted to just see what surprises were on my way. And that's one thing I like about Tokyo, is that there's always little surprises every corner. It doesn't matter where you go. Old buildings, new buildings, strange people, little dogs in pushchairs. So I just wanted to capture that. So I took a walk and then went back home and did a drawing that kind of reflected what I saw that day. My drawing process is I kind of draw really with no kind of intention of what the finished thing is going to look like, but I kind of, I had a theme of Tokyo and interesting things about Tokyo, so that's my theme, but I don't know what the final thing is going to look like. So I just took a piece of paper, took my pen and sat there for a long time and just let the pen do the work and kind of just express what I saw that day. And it produced like a final picture. It took me a couple of days. And from that I wanted to highlight a couple of things that really stood out and stand out in Tokyo. One bit was a building, and buildings in Tokyo go up so fast and come down really quick. So the buildings kind of have character. They almost walk. It's more about the kind of the creatures or the living element of Tokyo. So you have, well, maybe it's a dog, I'm not sure, but you have these creatures that kind of are coming from somewhere and going somewhere on the t-shirt. They're on a little journey themselves. So it's kind of a contrast between the buildings and the living stuff in Japan, Tokyo. Recently I just did a t-shirt for Granif, but that was almost, there was no brief for that, so I just drew a few images for them and sent them on. But this is the first kind of t-shirt I've drawn to a brief. I've had a brief.
Is it different working on the format of that shape as opposed to what you normally do?
It's very, very different actually, because I draw this way, so I draw horizontally. So it's very, very different to try and turn that up vertically, and then especially in a square shape as well. So that's why I wanted to kind of have an off-balance t-shirt, have something here and something at the bottom. So it's the first time I've done a t-shirt in a square kind of element. Do a couple of... So it's just from my head. So I think a lot of designers I like a lot of designers, but they all have themes, they all have their own concepts, and so do I, and mine is just a continuous line. Right. I don't like to sit there and draw from this or draw from that. I'll have an image in my head or no image, and it's just continuous lines. So some past projects I've been doing is a lot of experimental improvised live drawing. So basically being the connection between the audience and the musicians. So generally experimental noise kind of music, and then just drawing spontaneously the same size I usually do, but through projectors. So that's quite fun. And I've also been doing what I call that PPP. So that's my pen, paper, projector style of drawing. And then I've also been doing, I call it like live club illustrations. So I take my computer and my Wacom and I go to a club and I call myself a VJ and I get in for free, and basically I draw live illustrations, but it's on the projectors, and it's the same as most of the VJ stuff, but just a lot slower because it's just line basically. So that's good fun. Other stuff I've been doing is some fashion design. I did a collection of t-shirts and jumpers for a shop in London called Beyond the Valley. That was for autumn-winter last year. And recently I just teamed up with a couple of Japanese designers called Enkadala, and they choose a different artist each season to kind of shape their whole collection. So I worked with them earlier this year for their autumn-winter collection 2008. So they took some drawings that I did for them, then they transferred them onto seal and then made the posters from them. So that was quite nice. We had an exhibition with Enkadore in Omotesando, so that was just on for 4 days. And then they've taken the collection and they had a charity show called Link, and they had that in Harajuku. And then they also, I think, recently just had a show in Osaka, quite a big fashion show with the collection. In the future, I want to really push the PPP style. I want to work with some bigger names in London and in Tokyo. Recently, I think the biggest screens I've done is Super Deluxe. They've got like 5 projectors there, but I want to do even bigger and more people. Also with the live drawing at clubs, I want to do that to more people, to faster music, and just try and develop that way of doing visuals and being a connection between the audience and the crowd. Illustration-wise, I want to continue drawing as I do, in the format that I do and the size that I do, and just keep building that up as a collection and see where that takes me.